Good morning, everyone. Today we'll be talking about retail theories. This is one of the most interesting part of retailing. Get to know retail theories. Since retail is connected with trade, most of the theories are derived from the theories around us. It may be derived from a theory of evolution. It may be derived from theory of settlement or civilization. As I told you, evolution of retail is as old as trade itself. Development of trade is closely connected with social development. So these two aspects will be considered when we are looking at these retail theories. Look at it glance, industrial revolution, then settling of clusters, and then because of these clusters, look at convenience stores. Started and from convenience stores we went towards supermarkets, from supermarket to specialty stores and malls, and then of course online. So theories of retailing, we have environmental theory, cyclical theory, that is also known as wheel of retailing. We also have conflict theory. These are the three main theories. Apart from these theories, I'll also be looking at some other theories as well. Environmental theory is a theory which is derived from Darwin's theory of natural selection, which as itself says the survival of the fittest. So here, retailers or cluster of retailers work in a dynamic environment. They have to adjust and change in order to survive. So those who change survive. It's as simple as that. Environmental theory focuses on change. If you want to survive in the long run, you have to keep changing your retail format and adjust. Like today, online is the need of the hour. So you have to adopt to online system. Cyclical theory or wheel of retailing theory, described by McNair. It says that normally people enter as low price operators with low cost structure and low profit margins. As they offer greater range and move to more expensive facilities, leads to scrambled merchandising. That means they hit all varieties of different types of merchandising. This in turns leaves other to enter and repeat the process. So this is the cyclical theory, also known as accordion theory or accordion effect. This is how it is. Okay, this is the idea or the concept of your retailing theory. We have entry phase, trading up phase, and vulnerability phase. Accordion theory works like an accord. You might have seen an harmonium in our Indian concept. Same way an accordion also works. The theory also works accordingly. This theory focuses on width of the product assortment sold by retail outlets and claims a specific general cycle. That means that the cycle begins by retailers selling a wide assortment of goods followed by more focused range and then vice versa. So first they don't have a clarity, so as they progress they go into a more focused range. So then again they go into more general merchandise. So it compresses, again expands, compresses and expands like an accordion. Okay, so here is the concept of the retail accordion theory. Scrambled merchandising, as I told you, a wide variety of merchandise. Okay, like for example, if you look at the original merchandise mix here, we have slippers, sandals, shoe polish, socks, shoes. But in case of scrambled merchandising, there is a lot of other varieties like belts, umbrellas, hearts, scarves. So many other things comes into place. Next, we have conflict theory. Conflict theory talks about a combination of two different formats to give birth to a new format. So conflict exists between two formats. Assumption that conflicts not necessarily reduce the retail formats but rather give birth to a new format. That's the idea of the conflict theory. Retailing thus involves through a dialectic process, that is blending of two opposites to create a new. Say for example here you have a discount store format, you have a department store format. These two together are known as thesis and antithesis. When they come together, they found a discount departmental store called as a synthesis. So the conflicts creates a new format. Next, retail life cycle is similar to your product life cycle. Progress through identifiable stages of innovation, development, maturity, and decline. So you have sales and profits, you have time, and you have all the stages, that is innovation, growth, maturity, and decline, along with your profits. Other theories which I am discussing over here, We have the gravity theory, central place theory, spatial interaction theory, land value theory, principle of minimum. That's what the gravity theory is. If you have a bigger store or a bigger market, it attracts more people from faraway places. Next, we have central place theory. Central place theory suggests goods are classed as relative scale from lower order to higher order. Lower order goods are those goods which consumers need frequently and therefore are willing to travel for short distances for them. Higher order goods are needed less frequently, so consumers are willing to travel farther from them. Thus, these longer trips are usually undertaken for not only purchasing purposes but for other activities. So it says that if you have what you call as more frequently bought product, then you will have a scope for more number of stores in place. Spatial interaction theory, on the other hand, is a flow of products, people, services, or information among places in response to localized supply and demand. So it talks about supply and demand. Here, interaction is complementary, that is, a deficit of a good or a product in one place and surplus in another, and a transferability, that is, possibility of transport of the good or a product at the cost that the market will bear. In simple terms, if onions in one place cost 100 rupees and 10 kilometers from there, the same onions cost 50 rupees, people will go 10 kilometers to purchase it. But if onions in one place cost 100 rupees and the same onions in 10 kilometers away cost 90 rupees, people won't go there and buy. So that is the cost of transferability and availability of the product. If the cost is high, interaction does not happen. Then we talk about land value theory, or also known as bid rent theory. Land users, whether they be retail, office, or residential, all compete for the most accessible land within the CBD, that is the central business district. So everybody wants the best retail location or the location. The amount they are willing to pay is called as the bid rent. Based on the reasoning that most accessible land generally in the center is the most expensive land. Business in particular, especially large departmental stores and chain stores, is willing to pay the greatest rent in order to be located in the inner core. The inner core is very valuable for these users because it is traditionally the most accessible location for large population. Next, we have something called as principle of minimum differentiation. Hotling's law is an observation in economics that in many markets it is the rational for producers to make their products as similar as possible. This is also referred to as principle of minimum differentiation as well as Hotling linear city model. Suppose there are two competing shops locating along the length of the street, running north and south. Each shop owner wants to locate his shop such that he maximizes his own market share by drawing the largest number of customers. Both shops are equal in quality and price. There is no difference in shops to customers. Customers are spread equally along the street. Therefore, considering the prices are exactly the same, each customer will always the nearest shop because there is no difference. For a single shop, the optimum location is anywhere along the length of the street. The shop owner is completely indifferent about the location of the shop since it's draw all customers to it. However, from a viewpoint of a social welfare function that tries to minimize the sum of squares of distances that people need to walk, the optimal point is half along the length of the street. Hotling's law predicts that the street with two shops will also find both shops right next to each other at same halfway point. Okay, few other theories. Polarization theory. This theory suggests that in longer term, industry consists of mostly large and small size retailers. Medium size becomes unviable. This is called as polarization. Large store often one-stop shopping, smaller ones to offer limited range of products but add value to their offers and other services. It is found that firms tend to be more profitable when they are either small in size or big. The medium ones fall into what we call it as the Bermuda Triangle. Bermuda Triangle effect. This refers to the phenomena where the performance of mid-sized firms suffers if big mid-sized firms continue to act small or small mid-sized firms set up costly big firm practices. However, organizations do not have a transition at an optimal point. Some move from informal to formal too early, others wait long before making the transition. The result is higher cost and lower profitability. This leads to the Bermuda Triangle of management. Many firms enter it and will not get out of it any other end.